Every generation believes they are the smart ones. The baby boomers looked at the stories of the Great Depression and thought, that will never happen again. We have modern banking. Then came the 1970s stagflation. The Gen Xers watched the 80s corporate raids and thought they'd crack the code with the dot-com boom until the bubble burst in 2000. Millennials watched the 2008 housing crash and swore they would never trust a bank again, only to pile into speculative NFTs and altcoins a decade later. Now, in 2026, Gen Z and Gen Alpha are entering a market defined by AI and the affordability crisis, and they are about to make the same mistake their great-grandparents made. It's not overspending on lattes. It's not failing to save 10%. It's something much more fundamental, something so baked into our DNA that we don't even realize we're doing it until the floor falls out from under us. Today, we are breaking the loop. We're identifying the one financial mistake every generation repeats, the confusion of new eras with infinite growth. The four most dangerous words. In the world of finance, there are 4 words that have cost more money than every war in history combined. This time is different. Every generation encounters a new era technology or shift. In the 1920s, it was the radio and the automobile. In the 1990s, it was the internet. In 2026, it's artificial intelligence and decentralized finance. When these shifts happen, the old math is thrown out the window. People stop looking at earnings, cash flow, and debt. They start looking at potential and reach. We convince ourselves that the traditional laws of economics have been suspended because the technology is so revolutionary. This is the recency bias. Because we are living through the change, we believe the change has no ceiling. We start to believe that rags to riches is the new baseline, and anyone who warns of a bubble is just a boomer who doesn't get it. But the math of the universe doesn't care about your technology. Gravity always wins. The debt disguise. The mistake isn't just buying into the hype, it's how we fund the hype. Every generation finds a new way to disguise debt. In the 1920s, it was buying on margin. In 2008, it was subprime mortgages. In the mid-2020s, it's buy now, pay later, and leveraged crypto yields. We rename debt to make it feel like opportunity. We convince ourselves that we aren't borrowing money, we are leveraging our future self. But when you borrow against a new era that hasn't materialized yet, you are building your house on a cloud. When the 3.3% inflation we see today hits, or when the hunker-down economy begins, that debt doesn't care about the revolutionary tech you invested in. It wants to be paid in cold, hard cash. This is the debt trap that catches every generation, the belief that the future will always be richer than the present. The mid-roll hook, the memory gap. Here is the terrifying part. We repeat this mistake every 20 to 25 years because that is exactly how long it takes for the people who remember the last crash to retire. In finance, this is known as generational amnesia. By the time a new generation reaches their prime investing years, the scars of the previous collapse have faded into history books. They don't feel the pain of 2008 or 2000, they just see the charts. In the second half of this script, we're going to look at the psychology of the peak, why the smartest people in the room are usually the ones who lose the most. We'll also give you the amortization of reality checklist to make sure you aren't the next victim of the loop. But first, if you want to be the one who breaks the cycle in your family, you need to stay informed. Hit the subscribe button. We don't chase new eras, we chase real math. Join us. Now let's look at the expert delusion. The expert delusion. One of the most repeatable parts of this mistake is who we choose to follow. Every generation creates a new class of experts. In the 1920s, it was the industrial titans. In the 2000s, it was the hedge fund managers. Today, it's the modern-day gurus and the AI visionaries. We fall for the authority bias. We assume that because someone made $1 billion in a new era, they must be a genius in all eras. But as we saw with the missing billions of the recent crypto scandals, many of these experts weren't geniuses. They were just the first people to arrive at the party. When the trustworthy scammer psychology we discussed earlier meets a new era technology, the results are catastrophic. We stop doing our own due diligence because we think the experts have already done it for us. The overcorrection. The mistake doesn't end when the bubble bursts. The repeat happens in the overcorrection. After a crash, the burn generation swings to the opposite extreme. They become so terrified of risk that they miss the actual recovery. They hunker down so hard that they let their money rot in low-interest accounts while inflation eats their life savings. They go from maximum greed to maximum fear. This is the opportunity cost of the mistake. By the time they feel safe enough to invest again, the next generation has already started the next new era hype cycle, and the loop begins again. The key to wealth isn't avoiding the loop, it's staying rational while everyone else is swinging between extremes. The lifestyle creep trap. There is a social dimension to this mistake. The comparison trap. Social media has weaponized this generational error. In the past, you only had to keep up with the Joneses next door. Now, you're trying to keep up with a curated, AI-filtered version of the top 0.1% of the world. Every generation convinces themselves that luxury is now a necessity. We see a 24-year-old with a private jet and we feel behind. This leads to panic investing, taking huge risks with money you can't afford to lose because you feel like the normal path to wealth is too slow. But wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. The fastest wealth collapses of the decade all started with someone trying to move faster than the math allowed. The checklist to break the loop. How do you ensure you aren't the one repeating the mistake in 2026? Use the generational reality check. Strip the tech. If you remove the AI or blockchain or new tech label, does the business still make money? The margin of safety. If this asset dropped 50% tomorrow, would you be homeless? If yes, you aren't investing, you're gambling. Audit the expert. Does the person giving you advice make money from the advice or from the asset? The 20-year test. Would this investment have made sense in 1990? In 1970, the laws of supply and demand are the only things that don't age. The ultimate variable. Beyond the spreadsheets and the tax codes, the ultimate variable in this math is you. Whether you choose the volatility of the ticker or the tangibility of the tenant, the only true failure is staying on the sidelines out of fear or jumping in out of greed. We are living through an era where the middle class is being squeezed by the very assets they're told to buy, meaning your strategy must be more than just buy and hold. It must be a deliberate, calculated defense against the erosion of your purchasing power and the theft of your time. Wealth isn't found in a specific asset class or a specific age. It's found in the discipline to keep your capital working and the knowledge to unlock it when the opportunity arises. Choose your vehicle, master its mechanics, and start driving toward your own definition of freedom. The exit from the loop. The one mistake every generation repeats is the belief that they are exempt from history. They believe that the new world has rendered the old rules obsolete. But the one rule that never changes is this: profit must eventually come from value, not just from the next person willing to pay more. Break the loop. Stop looking for the new era and start looking for the permanent truth. If you want to see our deep dive into the Rule of 55 and how to exit the system early, click the video on your screen right now. We've mapped out the escape route so you don't have to wander in the loop. What's the biggest financial myth your generation was told? Was it that housing always goes up, or that college is always a good investment? Let's expose the lies in the comments. See you in the next one.